This is my answer to everything.
How you guys doing? Welcome to this week's Pre-Foreclosure Daily Grind Tip of the Week. Chris, the drummer Bose, Bob LaChance here, sitting here in lovely Connecticut. The weather's starting to turn. Anyway, we're going to just get into this week's Tip of the Week. Okay, we're going to go over how to train the listing agent on our short sale properties. It's extremely important. Chris deals with this on a daily basis, so I'm going to be heckling him while we ask him some questions. Yeah, questioning and heckling, both of them.
All right, okay.
Both
Just want to clarify.
Just clarify. But anyway, we're going to go over 2 points. Number one, when we're training our real estate agents, the listing agent, we're going to train him on list price, on how to list and price the property correctly, and also on how to train the buyer's agents coming in. Okay?
How to talk to the buyer's agents.
How to talk to them. Train them, talk to them, beat them around, whatever.
Whatever you have to do, smack them in the face a couple times.
All right, but the list price, Chris, what's the main? What are the main points you want to touch upon when new agents are listing short sale properties?
Well, first off, just explain to them that the idea of kind of the list price, something else we're trying to accomplish with it, outside of getting a buyer, obviously, is to build a list history, because the list price is also going to be something that potentially can be a good negotiating tool when working with the lenders, as far as establishing what the property is not worth, and then in turn what it actually is worth.
So that's what we see all day long. You got to look at it this way: if a bank's going to value a property and the property's list price just started at $200,000 and they got a buyer at $200,000, for instance, guess what?
It's worth $200,000.
Worth $200,000. Okay, there's no question on that alone. Okay, not to mention that if it starts at $200,000, guess what? In a depreciating market, the value could be down to $180 by the time they get their BPO done.
Exactly.
So that may be a challenge you might run into, and the buyer may walk. Okay. So what we do in our office, okay, and this is what we recommend everyone does, when they have a new short sale listing, start it at about 10% above fair market value. For whatever, if you're an investor, you're a real estate agent, and you perceive the value to be $200,000, start at $220,000. Okay, Chris, how much do you recommend them drop it, and when?
Yeah, drop it. You can drop it maybe about like 5 to 10%, maybe more like 5. Give it at least 3 or 4 weeks. The only time I would say anything less than that is if you're not even getting a phone call on the property, let alone a showing or an offer. But otherwise, you want to just be careful with how often you drop it, because if the lender sees a list history where the price was dropped every week or 2 weeks, they're going to immediately discredit it and throw it out, because some investors, such as FHA, have certain guidelines for how often a list price can be dropped. And so a lot of times they're going to say, well, a week's just not enough time to really market the property and thoroughly enough to really determine if you're going to find a buyer or not at that point.
So it's actually good to know every lender's process. For instance, if we're dealing with Countrywide or BofA, since we always talk about that every single day, or Wells Fargo, for instance, okay, since they have, unfortunately, it seems like they have the majority of all the loans now,
right?
Which we've been getting hand over fist now. We typically start the process. We know our process is going to take about 4 months on average, from start to finish. Okay, sometimes it could be longer. It just depends on who the actual loss mitigator is. Which, if any Countrywide loss mitigators are listening to this video, we know some of you, or managers. We know some of you are better than others. We'll keep it at that. Okay? But anyway, knowing the process is extremely important. And I'm going to give a shameless plug to our ManageMyShortSale.com site. Okay? We have a site within there that tells every single person, if they have a lender that comes in, and we have a forum within that site, and we can ask the question, hey, if I'm asking Chris within the site, say, Chris, I have a new deal with GMAC. What's their process? How long does it typically take? Guess what? It gets answered right away. Mm-hmm. So that's a great resource, and it's a shameless plug, but I have to do it. All right, let's get back to our tip of the week here. Yeah. So Chris, so that is the list price, right?
Right.
Okay, now we're going to get to, and this is extremely important, it's how to talk to the buyer's agent.
Right. You want to make sure that the listing agent is able to very clearly explain to the buyer's agent, what is involved, what them and obviously in turn the buyer can expect. One thing, for example, is you want to make sure that they are able to tell the buyer's agent the rough time frame or timeline for how long it's going to take their offer to get approved. Some it could be 3 or 4 months, some it could be more, some it could be much less, depending on who the lender is. The other thing is, the other main point that you want to establish immediately is that the buyer is coming in and they're purchasing this property as is, which means that bank's not going to pay for any repairs, nor is the seller. And obviously, as we all know, the seller can't. That's why we're doing a short sale to begin with. So,
and this just happened to us today, and I'll let Chris tell that story. But if you're a buyer's agent, okay, do yourself a favor and try to actually work to get your commission, okay? Don't try to work to not get a commission. Okay, Chris, tell them the story. This is just absolutely ridiculous.
And obviously, like Bob and I, we're not trying to cut anybody down. We're not trying to attack anybody, but you know, we just have to kind of chuckle as you're seeing us right now. We have to chuckle at some of the
ridiculous stuff that we see on a daily basis.
And hear from buyer's agents. And what happened today was I had a buyer's agent inquire about 2 things. Number one, who the lender or lenders were, if there was one or multiple lenders, and what phase or what part of the process we were in with the short sale.
That is okay.
That's fine. But the reason they were asking about those 2 things is because, according to them, it was going to govern what their buyer was going to offer. So, and again, coming back to, like, if we have any negotiators at lenders, or we have any management, higher ups at lenders that are watching this, obviously you can see now what we have to deal with from buyers, and what we're attempting to, for you guys, we're attempting to deflect, so that you guys aren't having to deal with this BS, because obviously,
and just so you know, this offer is not coming in from an investor that you're frowning upon. This is actually coming in from a
multiple listing
end buyer, right, or a retail buyer. So this is the crap we deal with. So if any lenders are looking at this, you might as well accept the investor offer to get the property closed. So that's just a little tidbit, and I know we got sidetracked. Yeah. But basically, you're saying that end buyers, or when you're speaking to a end buyer's agent, make sure you set the proper expectations, right? We talked about, what did we talk about?
Well,
repair credit. One of them is repair credit. It's an as-is purchase, okay? Don't be coming back with $15,000. I know we talked about that again, or prior to this.
Right.
What was the other one?
And then the other thing basically just has to do with the different time frames and timelines. Some lenders are going to take longer than others.
Exactly. So it's your job, and if you're brand new to this, sign up for managemyshortsale.com and get the answers right away.
Right, because we have, if not us, other members of Manage My Short Sale who are obviously involved on the forums on a daily basis. They'll have the answers, so you'll be able to get the answers.
Again, managemyshortsale.com is an online short sale and loan modification management tool. Has a HUD-1 settlement statement, web-based HUD-1 settlement statement, all lender contacts, lender profiles, everything you can think of under the sun. Automatic email notifications. Also, that's this week's pre-foreclosure tip of the week. So also go to shortsaledailynews.com, which is one of our news sites, brand new sites. It's awesome. Okay, we have five or six experts on that site on a daily basis. We have contributing editors too that are starting to write articles. So you're going to get all the breaking short sale news in the industry that happens. Just like you see here in the video, you're going to get it on a daily basis. You like this stuff? Go to shortsaledailynews.com. You'll get it every single day. Opt in, put your name and email. If you want an email per day with all the new changes, you'll get it. All right, Chris the Drummer Bowles, Bob LaChance, this week's pre-foreclosure tip of the week.
This is my answer.